Welcome back, guys. It's another episode of KJ's What Happened, where we look back on the week in the weirder news, the weirder news, and other just little items I find I want to share with you guys. So as always, thanks for being back. Thanks for the moderators who are out there. I hope you all have had a good week. I've been doing good. I've been staying busy. And, I've already got 4 videos on deck, almost 90% done each one. And this is the way I do stuff. And I'll think I'm done, and then I start putting it together, and I just feel there's something missing. So I have to wait, till I find another piece. That's kind of how I put stuff together. So once again, just thanks for your patience with my videos. I'm always working on stuff. I only want to put stuff out that I feel matters or, it's worth sharing, So I put a lot into these. So anyway, enough about me. Let's just get into the weirder news of the week. If this is your first time here, thanks. Thanks for showing up. And check out the chat room. They always have a lot of fun over there. It gets a little busy and a little crazy. But please share your thoughts on the stories we're going to go over tonight if you like. Here's the first one. Pastor kisses a young woman in front of his congregation to, quote, rid her body of demons. I've heard of some crazy lines before, right? But this is a new one on me. A pastor has locked lips with a young woman in front of his congregation in a bizarre attempt to cleanse her spirit. In video footage of the incident, a minister of an unspecified church in Zimbabwe kisses a woman in a pink dress to, quote, rid her body of demons during a sermon. Let's take a look at this. Maybe we can watch it. Here, I'll start it over. So he's ridding her of demons right now. That's what they call that. He spit it out on the ground. Got to get it out. Going in for another one. Gonna get that other demon out. I just saw another one in there. Okay, it's gone. Wait, I see another one in there. Okay, this might take all day. Anyway, there you go. That's how this guy is ridding this young lady of demons somewhere in Zimbabwe. I've never been there. Meanwhile, the woman is left to sway and gestures at her stomach, seemingly dazed by the possession. He then waves his hands around, yelling out commands before going back in for a second. The odd ritual lasts longer, and this time the members of the congregation can be seen moving in closer to watch the two kiss. Meanwhile, the 2 women in the front row hold their hands to their heads, seemingly concerned for the young lady in front of them. The camera then pans toward a woman in a green cardigan standing behind a short distance behind the pastor. Okay. There you go. That's the story. I do believe in demons. I believe in demon possession, and I believe in deliverance. I believe that through Christ, you can deliver people. It's a manifestation of the Holy Spirit. But I've never heard of this particular technique. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned. I don't know. This was just, I thought, interesting bit of news I wanted to share. Facebook's new chief lawyer helped write the Patriot Act. Ruh-roh. Have you ever actually checked out the Patriot Act? I haven't looked it up in a few years, but I did a few videos on it a few years ago. And, yeah. It's like double speak, it's double think. Everything's reversed. They call it the Patriot Act, but they're actually going after patriots with it. They're conservatives, Christians, people on the right. But it's the Patriot Act. Jennifer is a seasoned leader whose global perspective, which will be important as this New World Order forms, whose global perspective and experience will help us fulfill our mission. Jennifer Newstead, a Trump appointee who served in the Justice Department under President Bush, will soon be taking over as general counsel of Facebook, the company announced. I'm not going to get real deep into this, just kind of the headline I thought was interesting, especially her connection to the Patriot Act. And now she's going to work with Facebook. I guess we'll see what happens. I hope everything turns out well. But I don't trust the Patriot Act, and I don't trust Facebook. But I'm probably just old-fashioned. Apple face recognition blamed by New York teen for false arrest. A New York student sued Apple Inc. for $1 billion, claiming the company's facial recognition software falsely linked him to a series of thefts from Apple stores. I can't pronounce his name. Osmani Ba? I'm not sure. I'm not trying to be mean here or anything, but that sounds like a cartoon character, doesn't it? Osmani Ba. Watch out. Why? Here comes Osmani Ba. He's going to get you. Osmani Ba, 18, said he was arrested at his home in New York in November and charged with stealing from an Apple store. The arrest warrant included a photo that didn't resemble Ba, he said in a lawsuit filed Monday. One of the thefts he was charged with in Boston took place on the day in June. He was attending his senior prom in Manhattan. Ba said he had previously lost a non-photo learner's permit, which may have been found or stolen by the real thief and used as identification in Apple stores. As a result, Ba claimed his name may have been mistakenly connected to the thief's face in Apple's facial recognition system, which he said the company uses in its stores to track people suspected of theft. I mean, it's already here, it's crazy. I remember all this from Minority Report, that Tom Cruise movie. It's another example of predictive programming. It really is. This is how we're imprinted with these things, and then further down the line, they're easier to accept because we've already kind of accepted that in another reality, if that makes sense. So yeah, we've been programmed. We know this. Television programming, right? So it's here. This facial recognition. Interesting case there. We'll have to see what happens. It's another one of those things that we were programmed for, drones for corporations and companies delivering to your homes. Just getting more conditioned and used to these drones. FAA certifies Google's wing drone delivery company to operate as an airline. The Federal Aviation Administration has certified Alphabet's Wing Aviation to operate as an airline in a first for U.S. drone delivery companies. Wing, which began as a Google X project, that doesn't sound scary, a Google X project, has been testing its autonomous drones in Southwest Virginia and elsewhere. Air carrier certification means that we can begin a commercial service delivering goods from local businesses to homes in the United States, Wing said in a statement. The company has touted many advantages of using unmanned drones to deliver packages, from reducing carbon emissions and road congestion to increasing connections between communities and local businesses. The whole thing is just, look, I come from a background, I'm a writer from way back, and I used to write a lot about horror and science fiction. So that's just kind of the way my brain works, the scariest movie ever, right? But I see these things as just creating potential nightmare scenarios in the future. I don't want that. I don't look forward to it, and I don't try to manifest that or anything. I just think of different possibilities. Meanwhile, I live in the here and now at peace, but we think of the possibilities. So now you're going to have like all these drones that will be programmed with maps of your neighborhood and where you live or where your neighbors live. Just flying around with all that information. We saw a story here a few weeks back about China using these drones, but actually putting weapons on them. I think they were phaser guns or something like that, right? Something to shock somebody. I mean, it's always the beginning, I guess, and then it gets worse. But so you start piecing all this together and just thinking what could be, in the wrong hands, let's say. Hi. Chubbs is up here. We'll see if he says anything. He's just checking stuff out. So are you with me on that? Do you see the possibilities, like the potential bad possibilities with this? I mean, don't get me wrong. It seems cool. It's convenient, right? But that doesn't always mean it's going to be the best thing for us. As early as 2013, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos predicted that the online retail giant's octocopter drones would start buzzing out of fulfillment centers in the coming years. At the time, he said his company's drones will be built to carry around 5 pounds, a weight limit that would allow about 85% of the products sold by Amazon to be delivered by drone. But Bezos also said it would take time to develop a safe and reliable drone system and to get federal approvals. It wasn't until late 2016 that Amazon announced its first fully autonomous prime air delivery. Since then, like Google, it's been testing its delivery drones. The use of unmanned aircraft in the U.S. has been growing by leaps and bounds. At the end of 2018, the AP reported that 110,000 commercial drones are operating in U.S. airspace. I guess we shall see. There you go. What do you think about that? Is that good news? Is it bad news? Does it not matter news? I think it matters. It's going to matter. You're going to start seeing these things all around. Constantly seeing drones flying around. Flying over to people's homes and apartments. Converse drops trans-inclusive pride line and tension splits LGBT community. Oh my, let's take a look at these. It says, while Converse are launching an all-new pride line, it appears as though none of the proceeds are going to LGBTQ-related causes. All right. Take a look. I've got my ad block on. For some reason, this page is being kind of chunky. Anyway, there we go. I got it. That's probably what it is. Well, I guess this is for you shopping for an early Christmas, maybe wanting to get some gifts out of the way now for the kids or for someone you love. Yes. They're trampling on the rainbow. They also hijacked the rainbow. That's the other aspect of living in the upside down, I guess. But a rainbow is originally God's promise, right? And now the gay community, which, I didn't write it, but it's an abomination to the Lord. So the gay community has taken the symbol of hope. And I'm not convicting every single gay person. I mean, a lot of this stuff is certainly weaponized nowadays, isn't it? Pride even, right? I mean, pride is a sin, but it's gay pride, But they've taken the rainbow, a symbol of God's promise, and now they've put it on at the bottom of a shoe. But this somehow is good for the community, for their community. There you go. If you're looking for some Christmas gifts, want to get those out of the way now, put them up in the closet there for a few months until Christmas Eve, I guess. There you go. That's what that is. Trampling on the original promise from God. I'm not being hateful. I'm not being mean. I feel like I'm just stating the obvious. This spiritual war is really manifesting. It's getting so crazy. You know, I mean, ever since I did a video on the Paris, France fire. A lot of people did videos on that. I didn't see a whole lot of other ones, but I know a lot of people made videos on that, and that's good. You know, everyone's got different pieces of the puzzle oftentimes. So even since I made my video, and I had my own kind of personal pieces to share of the puzzle, original pieces, I've seen other stuff popping out. I've seen stuff from Casey, my friend Under the Stars, quite a bit, but so there's even more there. I mean, I didn't even know about the statues until just this week. And that was just news. That was a news story. The Casey stuff was just more coding kind of things around there. Also, my friend On Point Preparedness YouTube channel, check that out, just did a video on the bees and the symbolism with the bees and the news stories about the bees and the fire, and it was very interesting. So there's so much more that was going on, but man, it's getting crazy. Like the crown of thorns. I just heard about that this week. I didn't realize there were a crown of thorns story connected to this. Jacob Israel, I think he covered some of that as well. So you had that. And then you compare that to iPet Goat 2, where even I mentioned this in my video, but you know, there's a sequence. I didn't show you this. You can check it out if you like. And iPet Goat 2, when this false Jesus or false Antichrist, you know, creature, whatever this is, but it looks like the kind of Jesus figure. But, you know, this one has the Illuminati pyramid and all-seeing eye on his forehead. But more importantly, he has the crown of thorns on. So when he comes out of the birthing canal, because he comes out of a birthing canal at one point, behind him is the end of the church age, or also the symbol of that, I feel, but also the spire falling down. Just, I mean, side by side, look at the comparison. Perfect fall, side by side. So you got the spire falling down in real life at Notre Dame, and it matches the same one in iPet Goat 2. Also, right after that, this Antichrist figure, his crown of thorns disappears. He's got him around his head. So then this week, you know, then here's the story where they're talking about the crown of thorns, and luckily it didn't get burned and all this, right? So there's that too connected to this. Wow. I mean, there's just so many signs. I guess this is a good place to mention it. I was thinking about maybe just doing a chat sometime and over the next week about this, but you know, I did a video back in 2012 called I See 111 Everywhere. What does it mean? And I've been seeing it consistently for like 7 years now. And it sometimes more than others, but over the last just 2 or 3 weeks, I'm seeing it constantly. I mean, constantly. It's been, I mean, I'm just constantly shaking my head like, oh, okay, there it is. There it is. Even in just the most random ways. I mean, I went and visited my parents and I checked my mom's blood sugar for her and it came up to 111. You know, it's like just another example. It was like the 4th or 5th example just that day. So I don't know, you know, just there's definitely an energy. There's something in the air. And you just have to, you know, trust in, first off, hopefully you know God. Hopefully, I believe you need to accept Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, you know, through the Son to the Father, right? That's my belief. I'm not twisting your arm. I'm just sharing what I believe. But I feel you need to have that and get that personal relationship with God, and it gives you peace. It really gives you peace in times like this, and some of the stuff we cover, you know, it gives you peace. Because that's where it all boils down to. I mean, that's what I think. And I've been talking about this stuff for years, you know. So I've got my own view. But just, it's really heating up, man. It's interesting. It's really heating up. I keep connecting it to this stuff with Obama, too. You know, how Trump now, at least the narrative, maybe it's true, maybe it's just the narrative, but Trump now is, you know, wanting to go after all the people that tried to put this collusion thing on him, and it's led back to Obama and a lot of his cronies. So, you know, we'll see, man. It's heating up. You know, the whole thing's heating up. So, I don't know. I'm rambling. I know. I'm going to take a quick drink here. Okay. Let's check this out. Michigan City moves to criminalize calling 911 on people of color who are just living their lives. This is unfortunate. I watch a lot of these kind of cringe videos on YouTube, or just public freakouts and stuff like this. Some of that stuff's it's funny. It's also just kind of a study of human nature, just to see where some of these people are going, how far some people let things go, especially road rage and things like this. It's insane, man. Scary. I mean, some of the stuff that these people get into. But so there have been a lot of stories over the last few months that they do seem obviously racist. I mean, that's the thing, is that, there's a lot of that is part of a narrative. I understand that. It's all about the, race wars turning us all against each other. But then there's stories like this. And, you could say maybe these were set up too. I'm not sure. I haven't checked into these people or anything, but sweeping amendments to a 66-year-old human rights ordinance might make Grand Rapids, Michigan, the latest city to try to tackle the epidemic of racially motivated abuses of emergency services. The planned changes would make it a criminal misdemeanor to racially profile people of color for participating in their lives. But see, that's where, when I read that, it makes me think that this is probably some kind of a psyop, that they're, even if it wasn't originally intended, look what they're going to use it for. I mean, this could cause problems. And, we're talking about the narrative of the race war, and we've all seen, I need to do another video on it. I did one a few years back. I figure when I cover a subject, I'm good for a while, but maybe it's time to revisit that. But because now it's turning into a holy war. I mean, they've moved beyond that narrative. This stuff's still happening with the race war. It's still brewing. The system still wants that to manifest. And now it's moving into a holy war, right? Like Christians versus Muslims and all this. Meanwhile, the Pope is going to summits, and he's reaching over and working on creating Chrislam, bringing Christianity and Islam together. So isn't it interesting the way all this stuff plays out? I don't know. It could be a housewife, could be a Fed, this one. I don't know. But I know this could cause problems. The planned changes because of all this would make it a criminal misdemeanor to racially profile people of color for participating in their lives. I guess that could be good too, obviously. I mean, but what does that mean, participating in their lives? I don't know. Diversity and Inclusion Manager Patty Caudill said the ordinance is a new concept in Michigan. It isn't meant to discourage 911 calls, she said. Rather, it's meant to make people check their biases before calling the police. Call the police, but if you're calling because your neighbors are having a barbecue and you're calling because of some implicit bias because they're people of color, we don't want to see that. What do you think about this? I mean, there are people, I've seen some of these videos of, crazy white people, really, and they just walking by a group of black people who are doing their own thing, and then suddenly they're calling the police on them. You're being loud, you're attacking me. I mean, there are people out there that are like that. It's unfortunate. Now you're attacking me, and they're like, hey, miss, why are you filming us? Don't, stay away from me, stay away. I mean, you see these crazy videos, at least I do. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I just always see stuff like this. I put it in the same area that I just feel it's more division type stuff, more focusing on the differences than the things that can pull us together. It's always focused on our differences, even if it's as basic as your skin color, and ultimately just meant to turn all of us against each other, especially the races. Elon Musk claims Neuralink technology that will connect the human brain with computers is coming soon. This is a creepy one. Antichrist technology. Elon Musk believes humans must link up with machines in order to fight the inevitable onslaught of artificial intelligence. I mean, if he really believes that, I don't see where people think this is a good guy anyway. If he really believes that, believes humans must link up with machines in order to fight the inevitable onslaught of artificial intelligence. In a recent tweet, the SpaceX and Tesla CEO said technology from his latest company, Neuralink, will be coming soon. All right, there we go. All right, thanks, Elon. Musk has yet to offer up any more details on when or how the tech will come to fruition. Neuralink has previously teased a product that would effectively connect human brains to computers using a tiny implanted chip. What could go wrong? Let's read that again. Neuralink has previously teased a product that would effectively connect human brains to computers using a tiny implanted chip. I've seen that narrative before. In November last year, Musk told Axios that the technology would involve an electrode to neutron interface at a micro level. More specifically, it would be a chip. Hey, a chip. What could go wrong? More specifically, it would be a chip and a bunch of tiny wires that's implanted surgically into your skull. The long-term aspiration with Neuralink would be to achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence and to achieve a sort of democratization of intelligence, such that is not monopolistically held in a purely digital form by governments and large corporations. He said in the interview with Axios, I seriously feel like I just read part of a script from a James Bond movie, and that was the villain. I believe this can be done. It's probably on the order of a decade. Only a decade? Well, you know what's interesting? That would line up perfectly with Agenda 2030. I did a video on that a while back too. Maybe I need to, re-up the info on that if there is any new info, but the Pope's involved in that as well. The whole idea is by Agenda 2030, they essentially want all their New World Order plans in place by 2030. So wouldn't that be interesting? Now we have Agenda 2030, and now we're saying we're at 2019, almost 2020 at this point. Isn't it crazy? It's already 4 months in or so. Yeah, it's about 10 years, right around Agenda 2030. Everything lined up perfectly. And then that's where, maybe this technology is ready, and there you go. You can be a part of the New World Order. Get a chip. He called it a chip. You get a chip put up in your brain, connecting you to artificial intelligence and the interwebs and all that. No thanks. Not for me. He likened AI to digital intelligence that could spiral out of control if we don't pay attention. As the algorithms and the hardware improve, the digital intelligence will exceed biological intelligence by a substantial margin, Musk said. We're like children in a playground. We're not paying attention. Ultimately, the development of implanted chips could be what stands in the way of the human race becoming an endangered species, Musk said. When a species of primate, Homo sapiens, became much smarter than other primates, it pushed all the other ones into a small habitat, he added. So there are very few mountain gorillas and orangutans and chimpanzees, monkeys in general. Even the jungles that they're in are narrowly defined, so they were sort of like big cages. So, that's one possible outcome for us, he says. Musk has long been a critic of artificial intelligence, warning that should it fall into the wrong hands or become too smart, it could wreak havoc on the world. He launched San Francisco-based Neuralink just a few years ago in 2016 to develop implantable brain-computer interfaces that could upload and download thoughts. Musk has envisioned other applications for the technology in fields including medicine. One specific use would be reducing memory loss or curing spinal cord injuries by implanting electrodes into the motor cortex of the brain. This would bypass the severed section of the spine and have effectively local microcontrollers near the muscle groups. They could restore full limb functionality. Wow. He's one to watch, isn't he? Quite the character. Is that the chip? Is that the 666 chip? What do you think about that? Would you take the chip? Come on, you can get your email just thinking about it. Play video games with your fingers pointing in the air, I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. Woman holding gun and baby terrorizes San Diego church, police say. So again, back to the videos on the the church fire. Even as I said there, I believe it's a spirit. We're going to see, I've been waiting for that shift. It seems to be coming, and I even said in the video, it's not going to slow down. And just this past week, there have been several other examples. I'll show you some tonight. This happened at a church, though. Here's another one. A woman holding a baby and a gun terrorized a San Diego church on Easter Sunday, police say. Police and witnesses say the woman was holding a gun and a baby and interrupted the services, making threats to blow up the church. At one point, she aimed the gun at the 10-month-old baby, officials said. Churchgoers were able to tackle and disarm the woman shortly before police arrived. Officers took her into custody and say they determined the gun was not loaded. The incident happened around noon Sunday at this church in Claremont in San Diego. After she started the gun at the baby, one of the older gentlemen grabbed it from her, and then me and a couple of other men tackled her, said David Michael Miller, a serviceman who was attending services. We got the baby away from her. A few minutes after that, the cops came in. She was trying to run away or something, so a cop tackled her through a row of chairs. They arrested her and pulled another gun out of her bra. The woman's baby and her 5-year-old daughter, who was found nearby, were both taken into protective custody. The suspect was identified as Anna Conkey, 31. She was arrested and is expected to face charges that include making criminal threats and displaying a handgun in a threatening manner. But it was at a church. This happened at a church. I'm going to have to do a little digging. Maybe there's another story about this, but I'm pretty sure one of the examples that I saw this week was saying that she was screaming, "Jesus, Jesus." But maybe that's another story. We'll see. I'm not sure. So this right here is not good if this is true. California school caught teaching children that pedophilia is a sexual orientation. Okay, here we go. We got it. We got the video. This is what I originally saw was this video. I saw it this week, and then I just found the story tonight. So let's see here. Maybe we can watch this together. Let's see what it says here.
Now you're normalizing anal sex and you're teaching that to the high schoolers. You're not going to answer the question. They're not in front of everybody. Parents are not interested. So I love the ladies are still sitting here. Okay, so answer me why you're teaching pedophilia in school to ninth graders. Teaching what? Pedophilia, pederasty, right here. Pederasty, as I discussed with you before, twice in my office when you come to view the materials, I've explained to you that this is done because we are talking about historical perspectives of how gender relations and different types of sexual orientations have existed in history. So this is something. Something that's.
It's hard to tell what she was saying, so sorry about that. Let's just kind of read here and see what happened. The stunning admission that California government school officials consider pedophilia to be a sexual orientation came after a parent information meeting last month on the Brea Olinda Unified School District. Stephanie Yates, founder of Informed Parents of California, asked school officials why they were teaching pedophilia in school to ninth graders. But instead of denying the charge, a top school official confirmed it was happening and then attempted to defend the teaching. This is done because we are talking about, this is what she was saying. This is done because we are talking about historical perspectives of how gender relations and different types of sexual orientations have existed in history, she said, in a matter-of-fact way. So horrified, the mother turned activist expressed shock at Torres's admission. So sex between a man and a boy is a sexual orientation, she asked. Torres did not deny it. It's something that occurred in history, and so this is really important for us to include, she said, implying that, yes, sexual relations between a man and a boy, properly considered the R word under the laws of every state, is a sexual orientation. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it's here, right? It's here, I guess. If you're interested, I guess you can try to find that video. Maybe you can hear a little more clearly, if that matters. They pretty much transcribed it right here, though, to a T. It's just unfortunate, though. This is more that shift. This is more that truly the end of the rainbow, if you will, where we start getting into just the darkest aspects, like this, and a bestiality, I'm sure, as well. I saw my friend Jeff C. cover this. I thought he found something really interesting. His construction of a new Tower of Babel in Israel, preparation for the Third Temple. The story I found here is from February. But anyway, I'll just read a little bit here. One of the largest real estate developers in Israel revealed plans for the soon-to-be tallest building in Israel that looks surprisingly similar to images of what the Tower of Babel may have looked like. But a closer look reveals the new building may be much more. What one rabbi thinks could be a dry run for building the Third Temple. The Azrieli Group, an Israel real estate and holding company, announced their plan to build Israel's tallest building as an addition to their already impressive Azrieli Center complex in Tel Aviv, topping out at 91 stories and reaching 1,150 feet toward the heavens. It is estimated that the spiral tower will take 6 years to complete and an estimated cost of $666 million. You really can't write this stuff. I saved this one. This will be a good story to throw into a future video as well. It's the way this stuff manifests. Unbelievable. Yeah, there it is. $666 million new Tower of Babel, perhaps. Interesting. Things that make you go, Speaking of things that make you go, I believe we have a bit of a paranormal video here from the Hidden Underbelly 2.0. I'm a huge fan. I've done some videos on this in the past because I really don't know what a lot of these things are, but it's just interesting to speculate. Big fan of the flying humanoids. These sightings have been around have spiking even, I'd say, over the last 10 years. You can go look up footage of flying UFO humanoids, and there's all kinds of stuff going on out there that a lot of people can't explain. Some of it can be explained, but a lot of it can't be. So I think here's a new one. Let's see what this is. Anyway, there you go. I mean, seriously, what could that be, right? I mean, and you can look this up. There's lots of videos. They come in different forms, these things, but typically a lot of them come in almost a human-looking form. That's why they call them flying humanoids. But what are they? Is it a jetpack? Maybe it's just a jetpack. I don't know. Mothman? Witch flying through the air? Oh, okay. Here's another one about the churches. And this, let's see. It's a video, I guess. Let's see what they say. This is in New Zealand. Well, I'm not really sure what we saw. It says terrifying moment a man storms into a New Zealand church during a service. Let's read the article here. There was really nothing terrifying about the footage we just saw. I'm just saying. Here we go. Yeah, it's from April 24th. But again, back to the churches. The shocking moment a man stormed into a church in New Zealand on Sunday and demanded to speak to its leaders has been captured on video. Jenny and Samuel Kafanuga were at the Free Wesleyan Church of Tonga in South Auckland with their children and nieces and nephews when the man disrupted the service. Samuel was standing at the front door of the church when the man suddenly walked in. He said he wanted to talk to our leader, and I tell him he's not allowed to go inside. So I hold him outside and ask him why, and he says, I want to talk to your leader. I want to talk to your leader. He said he patted the man down to check if he had any weapons, but before he could stop him, the man started kissing his hand and pushing past him. Inside the church, the Reverend was holding sacrament, a religious ceremony where the parishioners are expected to remain seated and quiet. The intruder made his way to the front of the church where he began pointing at the cross and yelling, Jesus. Okay, that's where I got that Jesus thing. Jesus idea. The intruder, earlier was talking. I thought there was a story where somebody was screaming Jesus. I guess this is it. So the intruder made his way to the front of the church where he began pointing at the cross and yelling Jesus before trying to kiss the heads of the elders and shake their hands. In footage of the incident, the man can be seen at the front of the congregation while holding his hands in the air as shocked parishioners look on. Members of the church eventually escorted the man to the exit, but once outside, he began yelling, Somalia and Tonga are one. Jenny Kafanonga said the incident was, quote, weird, and members of the church were shaken by it, considering recent events. I would really love for the police to talk to him. I know there's more to it than just walking and yelling, Jesus, Jesus. That's not normal. He looked like he was mocking our beliefs, and to do that is very rude and disrespectful. But eventually, like I said, my mind always goes to the spiritual side. Perhaps he had a demon on him. Again, this is the attack on the churches. Right? That's the way I see it. I always see those possibilities when they're doing stuff like this. There's a video I've been putting together about, it's crazy. It's some of the crazier news stories. It really is. But it's also people acting like they're demon possessed, just like it was explained in the Bible. These people are, and this is happening all around the world, and it's even increasing. I've got all these examples of it. They're not here for the show, just things I picked up over the last year. Some of the wildest stories, man, and it's almost the same thing every time. People getting naked, growling like monsters and dogs and stuff like this, having the strength of 3-4 people. They can't get put down by tasers or multiple people or whatever. I mean, it's very interesting. So a spokesperson for New Zealand police said they were aware of the incident and after an investigation determined the man was not a threat to the safety of the church members. And that's the story. That's how it ended. But again, the churches, right? This is the churches, the attack on the churches. And well, here's another one. The churches. And this is also from April 24th. The last one was from April 24th. So is this. The attacker has been identified as a 36-year-old Somali man storms German church yelling Allah Akbar and injures 9 people. Parishioners said a man who's been identified as a 36-year-old Somali screamed Arabic phrases including Allah Akbar as he charged into the St. Paul's Parish Church on Saturday. He caused injuries to at least 9 people. Marko Petrovic, who was pushed aside by the assailant, told the Munich-based TZ paper on Wednesday, "The man ran past me, rammed my elbow into his side, and called Allahu Akbar. He threw something. A few visitors, strong men, were able to pull him to the ground and hold him until the police arrived." The Munich police issued a statement on Sunday stating the offender entered the church through the main entrance, gesticulating and shouting unintelligible words. In addition, he is said to have thrown several stones in the church. Whether the accused actually said that phrase, Allahu Akbar, or if this is misinformation, is still under review. So the police added some visitors, then fled the church. Then they were followed by more visitors in the direction of the exits. At the moment, 9 persons injured themselves slightly. 4 of these were transported for further clarification to Munich hospitals. The man was first held by worshippers and finally arrested by police. Okay. There you go. This is just kind of a fun one. I thought this might be kind of a nice one to share. 24 lost survival tips from 100 years ago with illustrations. I found this over at www.askaprepper.com. 24 lost survival tips from 100 years ago with illustrations. Let's take a look at some of these. You got how to extract a splinter. Emergency water filter. That'd be important to know. How to engrave on a knife. Make a fire extinguisher. As I said, there's 100 of these. So I'm going to go through each one at a time, and we're going to read the full article. I'm just kidding. I'm going to skip around a little bit. Just give you an idea of it. How to make roller bandages. How to fell a tree. Build a simple shelter. Make water fountain for chickens. Preserve eggs. Treat sprains. It's all good information. Oh, okay. It's not that many. Oh, 22. Okay. Okay, that's not too bad. 24. I mixed up the 100. For some reason, I was thinking there was 100 of these. So, okay. That's a lot of knowledge. A lot of good stuff to know, I guess. The 24 I can handle. How to treat an animal bite. Let's see what they say. First, tight a ligature around the limb above the wound. This will stop a little bit the bleeding, and it will give you a better visibility to elevate the wound. The next advice given back then was thoroughly cleanse the wound, and if there is any suspicion of madness in the attacking animal, and the place should be well sucked and cauterized with Luna caustic or a white-hot iron after cutting away the surrounding flesh with a sharp, clean knife. Oof. The advice was really good, though, for that time when there were no vaccines. And even today, doctors recommend thoroughly washing the wound as soon as possible with soap and water for approximately 5 minutes to reduce the number of rabies particles. Providone iodine or alcohol is then recommended to reduce the virus further. When the stuff hits the fan and we'll no longer be able to access vaccines, this will be your only option available. And that's what this article says. How to detect escaping gas. That's good. How to light a match in the wind. Let's read that. The familiar difficulty of lighting a match in the wind can be to a great extent overcome if thin shavings are first cut on the match towards its striking end, as shown in the picture. So, okay, there you go. On lighting the match, the curled strips catch fire at once. The flame is stronger and has a better chance. Cool. I never knew that. So that's how to light a match in the wind, I guess. Make those little divots or whatever at the top and light it. Light those first. There you go. Fun stuff. 24 lost survival tips from 100 years ago. not 100 lost survival tips from 24 years ago. That's the dyslexia kicking in. It happens from time to time. It seems that there's a return of the mystery booms. Or sonic booms this time, they say. Let's see. Let's go ahead and watch this together. Let's see what the people say that experienced it.
This is definitely worldly. Like, it feels like a big boom.
Well, some in Cleveland's Slavic Village neighborhood are hearing something go boom in the night. It comes with unexplained flashes in the night sky. And that boom, it's big enough to rattle windows and the nerves of dozens of homeowners. The source of this mystery is creating plenty of speculation on social media as well. 5 on Your Side investigator Joe Paganakis went in search of what could possibly be causing this phenomenon. So, Joe, you took your case to Cleveland City Council.
That's right. Cleveland Councilman Tony Brancatelli vowed to look into these unexplained East Side explosions while residents continue to record and post these unexplained explosions.
What I've heard like a loud bang, like a boom. Almost sounds like a bomb at times. No, definitely not a firecracker. This is definitely worldly. Like, it feels like a big boom.
Dozens of Cleveland Slavic Village residents like Edward McDonald now reporting mysterious sonic blasts at all hours of the night, shaking their neighborhood.
Back there in that corner, which is, I don't know, 65th and Fleet.
Some of the blasts captured on video outdoor home security cameras and posted on YouTube and Facebook.
Ready? See that?
First showing a flash, lighting up the night sky in Slavic Village, and then seconds later, an accompanying blast. The phenomenon getting plenty of comments on the Fleet Broadway Slavic Village Facebook page, with residents only able to guess where the flashes of light and explosions are coming from.
It shakes houses, it rattles windows. It hasn't caused any destruction yet, or it hasn't caused any property damage, but it definitely is noticeable.
Slavic Village residents reporting the blasts in the area of Fleet Avenue, East 49th and Dalton, East 55th and Mound, and the surrounding neighborhood. Some residents speculating late-night Harvard Avenue bridge work could be the cause, or perhaps old transformers shorting out in the neighborhood. An ongoing mystery residents say they hope will soon be solved before it causes some real issues.
Absolutely. I think eventually, if it's not controlled, we all know the powers of concussions and or concussion booms, and I really think that vibration could cause some damage at some point.
And we sent all those videos to Councilman Tony Brancatelli just a few hours ago. He vows.
So what do you guys think, huh? I mean, this is one of those quote mysteries that's been around for several years now. Hadn't gone away. It kind of started around the time that we started hearing those mysterious noises up in the skies, right? And I do believe that some of these examples are legit kind of mysteries. You know, they're hard to understand. Some of them you find out people are hoaxing, and then some of them you find out that's just, it's something that you can explain. But there's always those that exist where it just makes you wonder. And even some of the stuff that is explainable can still be kind of, scary and creepy. We know the government can control the weather. And what if this is some of that technology? At the very least, right? Who knows? So there you go. Mysterious booms and flashes continue on. Jump over here to this side and see what we got of stories. I thought this was interesting. This just came out a few days ago, too. Hopkins study. Half of schizophrenia cases misdiagnosed. Most just have anxiety. That's huge. That is huge. If you think about it, it really is. It's a huge statement. A significant number of people declared schizophrenic by their doctors may be misdiagnosed. New research concluded from a small study of schizophrenia patients referred to the Johns Hopkins Early Psychosis Intervention Clinic, a lot of words, EPIC, found that about half didn't have the disease at all. Schizophrenia is a severe chronic mental disorder typically characterized by disordered thinking, emotions, and behavior. The study showed that most misdiagnoses of these referrals were of patients battling anxiety or other mental conditions, with many wrongly classified for reporting that they are voices. Hopkins researchers say the results call for second opinions at specialized schizophrenia clinics after the initial diagnosis. This could reduce the risk of misdiagnosis, and ensure fast and appropriate patient treatment. Okay, this sounds like it's going to be a lot of doctor talk, so I don't want to get into that. But I thought that was an interesting study, an interesting headline. Half of schizophrenia cases misdiagnosed. Most just have anxiety. Plus, we're living in the victim culture. To me, that reflects in that study as well. So that whole culture is set up to make you feel like a victim, and somehow that's, everyone wants to be a martyr. Not everyone, but I mean, this culture, especially to a lot of the youth culture, is about, just everyone wants to be a martyr. Everyone's afflicted with something. Oh, I have mental issues. Oh, I have anxiety, and right. And then this world kind of celebrates that stuff. It celebrates people in peril. I mean, have you ever seen the Learning Channel, TLC? If you ever watched that sometime, and it's not, sorry to laugh, but they celebrate some of these obese people, and they celebrate, like Jazz. There's a show on there called Jazz Jenkins, I think, or Jazz. It's about a transitioning child, like a teenager. Many people have done videos on that. I mean, I don't even know if it's still on there, but I know it was on there for a while. But again, TLC, like, what are you teaching us? What are we learning from TLC? And it's certainly a lot of programming. But it was all basically about, again, kind of like loving your illness, if you will, and there's other examples on there as well. TLC, the Learning Channel. What are we learning from the Learning Channel? I don't know. California State Senate votes to prevent schools from suspending students for willful defiance. The bill now moves to the Assembly following a similar proposal being vetoed by Governor Jerry Brown last year. The new bill would stop students in grades 4 to 8 from being suspended for defiance to school authorities. Okay, let me read that again. The new bill would stop students in grades 4 to 8 from being suspended for defiance to school authorities. Wow. This is lawlessness. It's lawlessness. This is, that we're seeing lawlessness spread across the land. It would also prevent students in grades 9 to 12 from being suspended for the same disruption until January 2025 for some reason. Democrat Senator Nancy Skinner, who authored the bill, told the broadcaster, under this highly subjective category, students are sent to an empty home with no supervision and denied valuable instructional time for anything from failing to turn in homework, not paying attention, or refusing to follow directions, taking off a coat or hat, or swearing in class. The law would still allow for suspension for threatening violence, possession of weapons, or drugs. Senate Bill 419 states a superintendent of the school district or principal is encouraged to provide alternatives to suspension or expulsion using a research-based framework with strategies that improve behavioral and academic outcomes that are age-appropriate. According to CBS, researchers say suspensions for, quote, willful defiance have disproportionately impacted minority students, especially African Americans. In the 2017-18 academic year, the broadcaster reported African American students made up 5.6% of those enrolled in California schools and accounted for 15.6% of the willful defiance suspensions. Governor Brown's veto last year said teachers and principals were on the, quote, front lines of education and were in the best position to decide on how to keep classroom order. A number of schools in San Francisco, LA, and Oakland have already banned suspensions and expulsions for willful defiance. What do you think? I just see that as just lawlessness. It's another example of lawlessness across the land. Sometimes there's another phrase I get all the time. I always think when I see people just being hateful or being just cruel, and sometimes you see it. Luckily, I don't see it all the time, but you'll go out and even sometimes some people friends of theirs, you see examples, and I don't know. Americans stressed, angry and worried, survey says. Americans stressed. Now this thing's asking me to take a survey. See what happens. All right, well. See, this sucks. A lot of these sites are doing this, I've noticed. Well, this is WebMD. They're kind of forcing you to sign up or to pay them to read their articles. So we'll go ahead and go past that one. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. I started focusing on getting that site up and running, and just kind of like forgot what I was talking about there for a second. This happens from time to time. Sometimes I ramble, sometimes I lose my place. So thanks for your patience and your understanding, if you have any. Students appalled by footage of creepy Joe Biden touching women. I just think it's almost comical. It really is. It's comical that Joe Biden made it official that he's running for president in 2020. It's just this whole thing. It's a circus. It's funny. Anyway, they got a video here. I guess they're showing some of the students these things, this Joe Biden footage. I thought it was kind of funny. I'm not sure if I can play it or not. Might be a copyright thing. But if you haven't seen that kind of, I did a video on this. It's over on my website. I did it probably a couple of years ago now, to the tune of a song from Ween, Ween. Video about him being a creeper. But it's great that now it's all coming out in the mainstream, but it's just so out there and it's so obvious. But he's running for president. Oh boy. It's just hard to take some of these people seriously. It's like, right, they're either delusional or they know something we don't. Anyway. I thought this was a nice story. Hospital stunned by 12-year-old boy's miraculous recovery after hundreds pray for healing. Faith in the midst of crisis is a beautiful thing, for it's often a crisis that truly tests our beliefs and teaches us about the undeniable power of prayer. With the new faith-inspired film Breakthrough released this year, we're seeing powerful prayer from many different angles. Now the amazing community of Grace in Kentucky is being thanked for praying for a young man who collapsed during a Little League practice. And there he is on the right in the hospital. William Burton, 12 years old, suffered a cardiac arrest on the field on April 9th. He was taken to King's Daughters Medical Center and was soon airlifted to Cincinnati Child's Hospital Medical Center. It was chaos, Grayson First Baptist Church pastor John Schmidt told Kentucky Today. So much was happening, and he was in bad shape. Schmidt went on to say that William's mom, Amy Burton, began quoting scripture and singing. The boy suffers from long QT syndrome and is prone to heart problems. Kentucky Today has followed the story closely. The news outlet not only shared about the family's strong prayers, including William's prayer warrior grandmother, but also reported that the community and beyond took to praying for him. He was even getting prayers from Zimbabwe. We know God is hearing the prayers of his people on behalf of William, Derek and Amy Burton wrote. We're humbled by the love and support all over the world, his parents went on. Our beautiful son is in a fight for his life. Our God is a mighty healer, and he loves William more than any of us can ever imagine. We feel your prayers and thank you for your love and support for our boy and our family. Anyway, this stuff's touching. I know. Hey, let's get back to the monsters. Let's get back to the... Enough of this stuff, KJ. Let's get back to the monsters. Let's get back to the flying humanoids. There is power in prayer. Obviously, I've lived it. I've seen it. I know some of you have too. A lot of you have. When you see it, when you know it, it just changes everything, doesn't it? And it's not even that. It just strengthens your relationship with our Heavenly Father. When you have a real prayer life and you see it actually work in your life, it's amazing. Louisiana man beaten and robbed in violent home invasion. Just let's look at this for a second. Okay. Just think about this, guys. Mainly to the guys. Okay, I won't leave the ladies out, even for the ladies, because that's right. There's a lot of, single mothers out there. A lot of women living on their own as well. Independent women. I get it. Hey, it's 2019. So I'll include all of you. But can you imagine if something like this happened to you? This is really a scary scenario. I mean, everything turned out. I'll tell you in a little bit. I don't want to spoil anything, but just watch what happens and ask yourself, what would you do in this situation if it ever happened to you? And hopefully this never will happen to you or to me. But let's go ahead and check this out.
The public's help finding 2 men responsible for a home invasion and robbery. This incident happened Sunday, just after midnight on Grimmett Drive. Now, the whole thing was caught on surveillance. We want to get you a closer look. You can see the victim walking to this door. He looks through the peephole and opens it. The first man, police identified as 27-year-old John Pack, barged through the house. And then the second unidentified man comes in moments later. Police say the suspects beat the victim and dragged him into the back of the house. Now, here's a better look at the first suspect in the video wearing that red shirt. His name is Invasion. He's not been identified. Anyone police identified as 27-year-old. And it happened Sunday, just after it needs the public's help finding 2 men responsible for a home invasion and robbery. This incident happened Sunday, just after midnight on Grimmett Drive. Now, the whole thing was caught on surveillance. We want to get you a closer look. You can see the victim walking to this door. He looks through the peephole and opens it. The first man, police identified as 27-year-old John Pack, barged through the house. And then the second unidentified man comes in moments later. Police say the suspects beat the victim and...
Okay, so you saw the way that went down. I mean, he looked through the peephole and he opened the door, and I guess according to the story, these are strangers. And then that guy just kind of pushed his way through, and just the guy in the house just backed up. He curled down, fell down, and just curled over and let these guys just take over. Scariest part to me is when that guy ran over there to shut the door. It's like, oh boy, here it comes, but I guess it all turned out. I mean, the guy got beat and robbed, but he lived. And they picked up one of the fellas. But in the whole video, I saw the original. This is from the Shreveport Police Department here. In the whole video, you actually see them just stomp on him for, probably 10 seconds longer. And then he passes out, and it shows them grab him by his legs and just pull his body into one of the rooms. I mean, it's just crazy. But, what would you do if you're ever faced in a situation like that? If maybe it's not just someone coming at your door, maybe it's just somebody comes up to you with ill intention, just out in public, for whatever reason, and attacked, what do you do? I mean, and that's where you find out, are you going to fight or not? I haven't had a fight in years, but I would fight. I know I'd fight. You got to fight. Or not, or be like this dude, and just kind of like crumple, fall over and crumple, I don't know. Hopefully none of us ever have to experience that, though, because that's some pretty scary stuff right there. That is some creepy crap. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Nicolas Cage in the news. Here's something you got to see. I think it's pretty interesting. This guy is quite a character. I did a video on him on my KJ Osborne channel years ago. It's still over there. I think it's called What Nicolas Cage Taught Me About Demon Possession or something like that. Because he's definitely an interesting character himself. He's into some really dark stuff. His son was too. I think he may be out of it now, but his son was in some really dark, heavy stuff too. Imagery, occultism, stuff like that. Anyway, here's Nicolas Cage singing Prince's Purple Rain. This is only like 36 seconds long. But it's a good 36 seconds if you ask me. Let's check this out. I'll play it a couple times. Anyway, excuse me. I don't know how much of that I can play. But I think that's enough. You can go check that out for yourself. Nicolas Cage belts out a rendition of Prince's Purple Rain. But he also just had this random marriage. Did you guys know about this? He got married for like 4 days. Says it's been a rough couple of months for Nicolas Cage with his Las Vegas marriage to girlfriend Erica Koike over in just 4 days. And the actor appeared to be consoling himself with an emotionally charged rendition of Prince's 1984 hit Purple Rain during a karaoke session over the weekend. In footage obtained by Daily Mail, the 55-year-old face-off star is seen in LA's Koreatown on Easter Sunday, angrily belting out the lyrics in a dimly lit lounge. Well, that's definitely not the best picture they could have chosen. Oh, and that must be his wife, Erica Koike. I'm pronouncing that right. Freaking wild, man. You know, I get all kinds of people that follow the channel and the shows and stuff like this. People, so you're all very different. That's one thing I really appreciate about the audience too. So some of you are into, you know, weird science fiction movies and crazy horror movies. And, you know, I've got a background in that stuff. Loved it all growing up, went to film school for it. She wrote scripts about horror and science fiction for years, trying to sell TV shows and all that stuff. So I love all that kind of crazy horror stuff. So if you're into that, or not as much anymore, once your eyes are open, you kind of see you can see the programming in a lot. But the point is, if you're into some really wild, crazy sci-fi horror films, check out Mandy, a movie called Mandy with Nicolas Cage. It's really, really wild and over the top. Now, if these are my friends with children out there and looking for something to watch with the kids, not recommending Mandy for the children, but very crazy over the top movie. If you ever seen that? Anyway, there you go. Nicolas Cage in the news. They really could have picked a better picture than that one, couldn't they? I think they could have. Excuse me, I want to take a little drink here. So this is a thing too. Canada's new gay coin riles opponents and some supporters of LGBTQ rights. But, you know, I've talked about this, and this is going to be a big part of the New World Order system, the New World Order religion. Of course, the full-on, not just acceptance, but promotion of homosexuality, and then all the darkest versions of that as well. The darkest versions. Pedo stuff and everything else. So now they got the sneakers where they're treading on the rainbow. And now we got this. The Royal Canadian Mint released a commemorative $1 coin, commonly called the loonie, Tuesday to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the decriminalization of homosexuality in the country. While many Canadians are celebrating the coin's debut, not all, including some LGBTQ rights supporters, are pleased. The Mint plays a significant role in celebrating Canada's culture, history, and values through coins, Marie Lemay, President and CEO of Royal Canadian Mint, said. Marking 50 years since a landmark decision that began a process of legal reforms to recognize the rights of LGBTQ2 Canadians is a powerful way to recognize Canada's profound belief in equality and inclusion, she continued, adding to the LGBTQ for, quote, two-spirit. Okay. An indigenous concept that isn't completely translatable into the Western lexicon of gender and sexual orientation. That paragraph made me dizzy. Anyway, loonies. Some new loonies. You got a new loony. It's a gay loony. I'm joking a bit, but again, it's just this stuff is really manifesting, more normalized, and this isn't some hate call on any homosexuals out there. I've got people to listen. I got a family that are homosexuals, so it's not anything like that. But I think you all understand that. You also see the obviousness of this. I mean, this is going to play a role. It's already playing a role in what they're trying to create. And they're going to use it to destroy Christians. They already have tried that, and it's worked in some cases. This is some really crazy footage. Have you heard about this earthquake? There's a magnitude 6.3 earthquake struck central Philippines on Monday, the USGS said. Office buildings swayed the main business district of the capital, Manila, due to the aftershocks. Now, a video of a pool atop a high-rise building getting ruptured due to the earthquake and becoming a giant waterfall is going viral. You got to see this. Okay, check. I'll try to make this bigger. Hold on. I mean, this is straight up like something out of a movie. We're living in a movie. Look at this. That's from the pool that's atop that building there. Crazy, huh? Waterfall. Wow. I don't know. That's just pretty cool to see, I mean, from a distance, I'm sure the people that were in the pool aren't very pleased. Just kidding. I don't think there were any injuries. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. Now I feel bad. At least 11 people were killed in the earthquake, and another 24 people are still missing. The Philippines is on the seismically active Pacific, we've heard of this, Ring of Fire, a horseshoe-shaped band of volcanoes and fault lines circling the edges of the Pacific Ocean. There you go. Crazy footage. Fat sex therapist seriously compares fitness instructors to Nazis during a speech at a college. A woman whose Instagram name is the Fat Sex Therapist gave a speech at St. Olaf College on Thursday in which she compared fitness instructors to Nazis and putting children on diets to, wow, the R word. I truly believe that a child cannot consent to being on a diet the same way a child cannot consent to having sex, she said. We should be critical of the use of science and the production of knowledge to continue promoting this idea that certain bodies are fit, able, and desirable. Is it my fatness that causes my high blood pressure, or is it my experience of weight stigma? She asked the audience. I told you this is earlier. We were talking about this acceptance of everything, right? Even your illness, owning your illness, loving your illness. She then took it even further, calling the science that states that obesity is unhealthy, fat-phobic science, saying that it is often actually eugenic science. Eugenic science is Nazi science. I do not think it's surprising that the man who shot it, wow, she's going there. Christchurch, New Zealand was also a fitness instructor. She said, adding that it was a clear communication that there's still an idealized body. She said Nazis really loved this idea of an idealized body. It also goes back to Freemasons becoming your own god or being the God man. And so it makes a lot of sense to me that a fitness instructor Might also think about an idealized body in this thin white supremacist way, she said. Oof. Wow. Wow. Marry me. Am I right, guys? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Marry me. Marry me. Okay, I've had enough. Cafe that charged a man tax. I didn't even know this was a story before this one. I guess there's a cafe that does this, or did it. Cafe that charged a man tax and gave women priority seating is going out of business. I guess that's it. It's a pretty place. Oh, they got the rainbows up there. Okay. There's the rainbows. I know it sounds jerky, some of you may think, but that tells me what spirit resides there. It's all the same thing. A lesbian-owned vegan coffee shop in Brunswick, Australia that made international headlines in 2017 for charging a voluntary 18% quote man tax will close its doors for good on Sunday after less than 2 years in business. Handsome Her, which opened as a quote space for women by women, received backlash for what critics called reverse sexism. The cafe asked male patrons upon checkout if they wanted to pay an optional surcharge meant to represent the gender pay gap and offered female patrons priority seating. While the business did not confirm or deny rumors of bankruptcy, co-owner Alexandra O'Brien said the Handsome Her team will continue to pursue its mission to drive change with, quote, hands-on work across Australia. O'Brien said allegations of sexism only proved how fragile masculinity is and confirmed the need to confront and dismantle patriarchy. The business's apparent failure sparked mixed reactions online, while some social media users praised the Handsome Her team as, quote, heroes and, quote, lesbian feminist activists. Others called them, quote, man-haters and said the cafe's impending closure proved that sexism in business is a bad idea. All right, there you go. Handsome Her, here we come. Am I right, guys? Come on. Wait. New high school textbook describes... I'm telling you, just more and more. We've talked about it in some of my videos and some of the shows here about Trump being the president where the event's going to take place, turning into basically the president before the Antichrist. Some people think he is the Antichrist, but there's different theories. There's a lot of things everyone's watching for, and that's what makes it fun to participate in this, to have your eyes opened and to really watch for these things and just see, while, of course, maintaining a life all your own, being at peace. You can't be freaked out all the time, right? So we roll with it. And we check out the narrative and we question every angle. New high school textbook describes Trump as mentally ill, supporters as racist. It says, I came across this item as I was researching my new book, Culture Jihad, How to Stop the Left from Killing a Nation. Many advanced placement students across the fruited plain will be using an American history textbook that depicts Trump as mentally ill and his supporters as racist. The textbook, published by Pearson Education, is titled By the People, A History of the United States. It was first exposed by radio host Alex Clark in 2018. The final section of the book, titled The Angry Election of 2016, is especially critical of the president. Most thought that Trump was too extreme a candidate to win the nomination, but his extremism, his anti-establishment rhetoric, and some said his not very hidden racism connected with a significant number of primary voters, the author wrote. The author goes on to describe the president's supporters as, quote, mostly older, often rural or suburban, and overwhelmingly white, unquote. Clinton supporters feared that the election had been determined by people who were afraid of a rapidly developing ethnic diversity of the country, discomfort with their candidate's gender, and nostalgia for an earlier time in the nation's history, the textbook reads. They also worried about the mental stability of the president-elect and the anger that he and his supporters brought to the nation. In other words, advanced placement students are going to be taught that President Trump is mentally insane and his supporters are a bunch of irredeemable deplorables. Such descriptions would be laughable, but this garbage is being shoved into the minds of impressionable American teenagers. Tara Snyder, a student at Rosemount High School in Minnesota, told Fox News she was, quote, appalled after seeing how blatantly biased the textbook was toward Trump and his voters. She said it all glossed over all issues then Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton faced during her campaign. It was really, really surprising to me, she said. I really believe that learning should be objective and that the students can make their own decisions based on what they're able to learn in the classroom. And if the facts are skewed, then the students aren't able to make well-rounded decisions on what they believe. A Pearson spokesperson defended the textbook, pointing out the book underwent rigorous peer review to ensure academic integrity. There you go. There you have it. New high school textbook describes Trump as mentally ill, supporters as racist. Cool. It's really not, but cool. That's cool. It's really not. It's not cool. This one's fun. It's pretty weird. It's another one from Hidden Underbelly 2.0. And let's just kind of watch this here together. Maybe they wrote something here. It says this footage was taken by comedy Joe Schmo, but this is no joke. While on holiday, Joe was filming his friend having a laugh with one of the staff members of the Harmony of the Seas cruise ship, which was part of the Royal Caribbean Fleet. In the footage, we see the wet floor sign move not once but twice. Joe stated to me, the floor is not wet and the boat not moving. People walked by, the sign didn't move, and all of a sudden this happened. So anyway, there you go. So let's see what happened. Let's see what all the commotion's about, shall we?
And then dance.
We're trying. We're trying. It's a thing. And we're gonna go.
They all stopped and looked at you.
I don't know what to do. He smells so good. Oh
What?
my God.
You see that?
Did you see it? There's a joke. Oh my God. Are you married? You have a girlfriend? She just totally moved that shit. Oh my God. Never mind. I'm out.
Joe says I'm out. Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
There you go. Who did it? Here's another one with another church fire. Paquette, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but Paquette loses historic United Church in morning fire. This is from April 23rd. The first United Church in Paquette was part of the fabric of the community. Its steeple might have been the most distinct of the Bay Verte Peninsula community skyline since it was built 63 years ago. That was until an early Tuesday morning fire leveled the historic structure. Paquette Fire Chief Jody Matthews received the call just before 5 a.m. that smoke could be seen coming out of the building. It was spotted by fishermen as they headed out to sea just 15 minutes before the chief received the call. Responding quickly, Matthews said crews had water on the fire immediately and had everything under control. Despite that, she called it a complete loss. The steeple and the roof have collapsed. The inside is completely burned out. The Piquet department had help from departments, blah, blah, blah. Let me see. As it stands, the cause of the fire and where it excuse me. As it stands, the cause of the fire and where it originated remain unknown. Loss of the church is a blow to the community, but again, right? This is what I don't like this. I don't want to see this happen, but I believe it's a spirit on the move. More churches on fire. Here's a bit of the doom break. We deserve a doom break from time to time. Speaking of which, I still promise you, I'm going to show you all some footage of Chubbs, but every time I want to do it, I feel like I haven't done enough. This is how I do with videos too. Then I'll wait for a couple days and try to catch different angles and So just thanks for bearing with me. I'll do something up there for Chubbs, film some more on him and put it all together. Okay, let's see here. Let's get that volume.
Law enforcement.
Compassion, also very
State police officer proves sometimes the job involves more than just law enforcement.
Compassion, also very important. Officer Roger Jamalis was on patrol in Cahokia when he noticed a young man driving a car with a busted side window and expired plates. 22-year-old Kashawn Baldwin was driving a car that he borrowed. He was worried about going to jail, getting the car towed, and being late for a job interview. But instead of giving him a ticket, Officer Jamalis decided to give Baldwin a ride to the job interview.
With everything that's been going on lately in the community and around here, police really get a bad rap.
And here's the good news. Baldwin got the job. He says he'll be taking the bus to and from work until he saves enough money to buy his own car.
See, more stories like that, please, right? I mean, more police out there acting like that. And at least hopefully the media will cover it more if they do. It's good to see that. You can't just constantly focus on all the evil that police have done and like all the time, without showing some of the good stuff like that. We just need more of the good stuff, don't we? Oregon to become first state to mandate universal home visits of all families with newborn children. So I'm not sure how real this one is. I didn't find it in a whole lot of other places, so I'm just kind of letting you know. This will be one to watch, though, because if this is true, this is huge. Oregon to become first state to mandate universal home visits of all families with newborn children. So, this would be like a vaccine program as well. Make sure all the kids are vaccinated and caught up on their government shots, whatever those may be. Oregon Governor Kate Brown has submitted her 2-year budget proposal to the Oregon State Legislature, and it includes several health initiatives aimed at children's behavioral mental health under the oversight of the Oregon Health Authority and Oregon's coordinated care organizations. One of the key pieces of Governor Brown's legislation is the beginning investment in a 6-year program to create universal home visits for new parents. The Beaverton Valley Times interviewed Patrick Allen, the director of the Oregon Health Authority, who reportedly expressed excitement at the prospect of requiring home visits of all new parents, including adoptive parents. When the program is complete, every new parent, this includes adoptions, would receive a series of 2 or 3 visits by someone like a nurse or other healthcare practitioner. The visits can include basic health screenings for babies, hooking parents up with primary care physicians, linking them to other services, and coordinating the myriad childhood immunizations that babies need. Emphasis added. Yeah, whoomp, there it is. Allen made it clear that they were targeting all children, not just troubled families. This isn't something for people in trouble. This is stuff all kids need, he said. State of Oregon sees about 40,000 births per year, and the Universal Home Visit Program has apparently already been piloted in Lincoln County. So if you live in Lincoln County, Oregon, and have the experience with this Universal Home Visit Program, you would like to share the info with the public, and they're saying reach out to Health Impact News. So, okay, there you go. One to watch. I wonder if it's real. Seems, I'm going to look more into it. You should too. But interesting that mainstream hasn't picked up on this, or if they ever would. Okay, this one's I think this is interesting. This may be of interest to some of you out there. So there's a website been around for a long time, as long as I have been awake, like over 10 years. I remember seeing this website a long time ago, and it's called Godlike Productions. It's a real popular, community of conspiracy theorists, if you will. To me, it's changed a lot over all the years. I still go there from time to time, not near as much as I used to. Anymore, to me, I find the best stories just kind of in the mainstream, or local news channels put up some really interesting stories and things like this. But still, we'll go check out GLP, we call it to this day, from time to time, because it's, it used to be legend, honestly. Maybe it's just me that thinks this way. I just think it really fell off the last several years. Became real big about Republican right-wing stuff, almost like another Fox News, it felt like, over the last few years. But back in the day, back 2012, 2013, 14, they used to have some of the best news, like what I'm covering with you guys, just the weird stuff, the creepy stuff, the monsters, the this, the that, and just a mix of it all. That was, to me, what the old Godlike Productions used to be. Kind of like what we do on this show, in a way. But anyway, so this is the guy that's behind Godlike Productions. He just put this video out. He's never shown his face in all these years. He's done a couple videos. This one's a little bit shorter, but I just thought it was interesting. A lot of conspiracy theories also around Godlike Productions. A lot of people think there's some connections with government and stuff like this. And, who knows? I'm not even looking into that with this right here. I just thought it was interesting. Here's the guy and what he's saying about Godlike Productions now.
Why have I decided to do this now? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the state of things in our country is not well. The website has been under constant attack, destroyed the advertisers.
Real quick, I'll say this is him, because he actually posted this video on under his name on Godlike Productions, just so you know. So this is the guy. And I've also seen some stories about this over the last month or so, how he's been losing his advertisers. So that's happening. Here we go. We'll watch it.
You may ask yourself, why have I decided to do this now? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the state of things in our country is not well. The website has been under constant attack, destroyed the advertisers, destroyed the payment processing. Not a good situation. So who knows how much longer we'll be able to keep it online. We will certainly make every effort to do so. But I just thought that you ought to know who was really behind it, who kept it running all these years, and that it was just a guy. Just a guy chilling, living in fucking Florida, living the dream, baby. And really, that website has always been a hobby and something that I love. It's a labor of love. It really is. So let's hope that if you love it too, that we can keep this thing going together for the right reasons.
There you have it. Now, some of you may be scratching your head, never heard of it, but you should go check it out. I mean, if this isn't an advertisement for Godlike Productions, by the way, but go check it out for yourself. See what you think. Some of it, you got to sift through a lot, and I do think there's a lot of little operations that take place over there. Obviously, I've noticed that throughout the years at times. strange psychological operations they'll run over there. I'm not saying it's him doing it, but it's an open format where people can post anything. So you see some weird stuff show up. Anyway, just want to share that with you. Maybe news to you. Oh, we covered this earlier, didn't we? I had to throw this one out there. This is interesting. Lorraine Warren, paranormal investigator Lorraine Warren, CT resident, dies at 92. Lorraine and Ed Warren investigated hauntings for decades, from the Amityville Horror to The Conjuring and Annabelle. So in some of those horror films, there's the characters are in there that they're playing Ed and Lorraine Warren. Some of you movie buffs out there. But she was a very interesting, they're an interesting couple, and they were involved, and I believe they're Christian as well. The legendary Lorraine Warren, 92, traveled the country with her late husband, Ed Warren, lecturing about demons, the supernatural, and psychic phenomena, passed away Thursday night, according to her son-in-law, Tony Spera. The Warrens were paranormal investigators who are linked to some of the most prominent haunting cases. Thousands of moviegoers have been scared stiff when seeing films such as the Amityville Horror, Annabelle, The Conjuring, Conjuring 2, based upon the lifelong work of the Warrens. Spera announced the passing of Lorraine in statement Friday morning. It was with deep sadness that I must announce that Lorraine Warren has passed away. She died peacefully in her sleep at her home last night. The family requests that you respect their privacy at this time. Lorraine touched many lives and was loved by so many. She was a remarkable, loving, compassionate, and giving soul. You hear that police car going by out there? They're coming to get Chubbs. To quote Will Rogers, she never met a person she didn't like. Okay. See if I'm just trying. Oh, here we go. Connecticut. She attended a Laurelton Hall, a private Catholic school in Milford. It was there at age 9. Her son-in-law, Tony Spera, said she realized that she was different from the others. She remarked to a fellow student, "Look, Sister Joseph's lights are brighter than Mother Superior's," which got her in trouble with Mother Superior. Spera said, Warren said she was seeing the human aura around Mother Superior and thought that everyone could see it. She and her husband have investigated thousands of hauntings, including Amityville, the West Point Ghost, the Perron House from The Conjuring, Conjuring 2. Wow. She and her husband have written 10 books and lectured throughout the world regarding their experiences. We felt it was time to celebrate the life of Lorraine Warren, a true pioneer of the paranormal realm, it says. Spera said in an interview that her mother-in-law's faith is, quote, her linchpin and sets the foundation of her belief system. It's her suit of armor against diabolical forces. Spera said Lorraine received signs from Ed on several occasions after his death. All right. Here you go. There's some of it. Interesting story. Interesting people. There you go. I haven't even seen those movies. Have you seen The Conjuring and all that, and Annabelle? And are they good? Bad? They scare you? Did you get scared? This guy thinks he captured some kind of a monster or creature, or maybe it's just a turtle. Man shoots, I don't think it's a turtle. Man shoots video of mystery animal in Akron Turtle Pond. Let's check this out.
What is that? What is that big thing?
I don't know. Mystery animal, mystery creature. I'm sure it's probably nothing. I don't know. I was kind of hoping it'd be a cooler video. But, I don't know what that is. Okay. I can't say it's a monster. Can't say it's a creature. This is kind of old news, but, well, this is 6 days ago. But I did a video a couple weeks ago. I put it up over on my website. If you haven't been to my website, check it out sometime. I just had to update it. YouTube blocked another one of my videos worldwide. It was a video from 2014 about Hollywood stargates and Mother Goddess worship. So I had to put that up over on the website. Sometimes I'll do original videos, though, and put them up over there as well, the things I don't do on YouTube. But I did a video where I think there's around 20 different, quote, celebrities I found that are raising their children and letting them choose their own sex and all this madness. Charlize Theron reveals she's raising her first child, Jackson 7, as a girl. And Jackson was born a boy. So there you go. But it's not just her. It's a trend. It's definitely a trend out there. This is just a goofy headline. Handshakes could be banned at work to avoid sexual harassment gray area. I mean, I feel like this is what the beast system wants for us. I feel that this is what people want. Some people want to happen. Just more control. It's ridiculous. And just turning people against each other. Making people more afraid of each other. Handshakes could be banned at work to avoid sexual harassment gray area. Okay. Another one, man. 2 fires break out at Pennsylvania church. Arson investigators searching for clues. April 25th. I told you guys, man. I mean, it's a spirit on the move. That's really all we needed to see. Is the headline there. Ontario passes law allowing government to seize children from parents who oppose gender transition. Jeepers. Canada's Ontario province has passed legislation that allows the government to seize children from families that refuse to accept their children's chosen gender identity or gender expression. The so-called Supporting Children, Youth and Families Act of 2017, or Bill 89, was approved of a vote of 63 to 23, according to the Christian Times. It requires child protection, foster, adoption service providers, and judges to take into account and respect a child's race, ancestry, place of origin, color, ethnic origin, citizenship, family diversity, disability, creed, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. I need a drink after all that. Just water. Hold on. I would consider that a form of abuse when a child identifies one way and a caregiver is saying, no, you need to do this differently. Minister of Child and Family Services, Michael Coteau, who introduced this bill, was quoted as saying, if it's abuse and if it's within the definition, a child can be removed from that environment and placed into protection where the abuse stops. All right, there you go. Bill 28 or Bill 89? Yeah, Bill 89. Supporting Children, Youth and Families Act. There you go. More on this front, more in this fight. Michigan faith-based adoption agency to allow LGBTQ couples to adopt kids. That's the woman that made it happen. She looks angry. Frown. Turn that frown upside down. Stop doing evil things. Bethany Christian Services, a faith-based adoption agency in Michigan, has opted to allow LGBTQ couples to adopt children referred to the agency through the state's child placement services in order to comply with a new state rule banning discrimination against gay parents. Bethany will continue operations in Michigan in compliance with our legal contract requirements. An adoption agency spokesman said Wednesday, the mission and beliefs of Bethany Christian Services have not changed. The agency is responsible for 8% of Michigan's more than 13,000 adoptions and foster child placements each year. Last month, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services announced that adoption and foster agencies that discriminate against LGBTQ parents would not receive state referrals. There you go. Hey, Toots. Turn that frown upside down. And now this story's coming out, man. I mean, what they've done to the Boy Scouts anyway. Remember, just within the last year, you had the stories where they were requiring condoms for the jamboree. They were allowing, openly homosexual men to become the scout leaders. Also allowing girls to join. I mean, just basically dismantling and destroying in so many ways. The Boy Scouts, now they have these perversion files going back many years in many cases of abuse taking place, which no doubt I would believe has gotten a lot worse over the last year or so since they've destroyed it as much as they have. Just the headline alone here: grave robber arrested after trying to make soup from 100-year-old skeleton. Canadian Lucas Dahl was escorted into a courtroom late last week, accused of having dug up a 100-year-old skeleton, boiling the bones, and drinking the water they were boiled in. Daw, 20, had to be guided into the courtroom by sheriffs because he had placed his coat over his face to hide his identity, and he couldn't see where he was going. The precise details of the allegations against Daw are yet to be revealed, reports the Chronicle Herald, but court documents say that he's been charged with possessing a skeleton stolen from a graveyard of All Saints Church, as well as interfering with human remains on the same day. Weird. The province's chief medical examiner told the chief it's the first case of grave robbery he's ever seen in Newfoundland. Cases like this is the first time I know of, and I was involved in Newfoundland. Newfoundland, how you say it? There you go. Soup. It's soup time. I bet that made you hungry for soup, didn't it? A little bit of a doom break. Dinosaur pets are the grooming craze cats wish you'd never heard of. Have you seen some of this ridiculous stuff? Here, let's see if I can't play the video. Check this out. Would you ever do this to your cat?
Scale. How it connects with the rest of the scale. I usually end the last scale with a perfect, what do you call it?
Cat seems to like it though, huh?
That's what I'm going to do. A little bit of a gap. For the slow roll spiral starts.
Can you imagine? I would never. I could never do that to Chubbs. But it's not like it's abusive, I guess. I mean, the cat seems to really dig it. He's a mess. Whoa, look at that one. This one. Another dino cat. Look at that picture. Aw. Look at that. Did you ever do that to your cat? Look at this one. Got the little blue on the back. Whoa. It's crazy looking. Look at that. There you go. Give you some ideas, don't it? Grab the kids and the clippers and go find that kitty and make a dino cat. Mysterious plasma cloud shaped like face appears across U.S., this video claims. Take a look at this plasma cloud that looks like a face.
Captured by Kenneth Grubbs.
Pretty cool looking, huh? See if there's a closer shot. Here we go. That's a little better. There we go. Interesting, huh? It's a cool cloud. Kind of see a face there, huh? Does look like a profile, doesn't it? It's like a profile of a white-haired man, older white-haired man. To me, that's what I see. The left profile of him. Strange. Is that a spirit? Are we seeing one of these things manifest in that form? These shape-shifting demonic interdimensionals? Could that be what you're seeing here? Or just a cool cloud? You decide. Pretty cool footage, though. I like stuff like that. Things that make you go, And for the last story this evening, James Bond to ditch womanizing ways and become a Me Too feminist icon. The gist of the story is they've hired a team of women now to transform James Bond into a Me Too feminist icon. So the women will be writing the script. I guess that guy, Rami Malek from Mr. Robot. He does Mr. Robot. He was just in the Queen movie as Freddie Mercury. I guess he's going to be the bad guy. But now this lady here is going to turn 007 into a feminist Me Too icon. And there you have it. And that's all we got. I want to jump over here to the chat real quick, see how you guys are doing. And turn my volume down over here on this one. There it is. Hey, guys. Hey, thanks again. Thanks so much, as always, for being here, you guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the show. As I said at the beginning of the show, I've got 4 videos on deck, all of them about 90% ready to go, but I take my time. I have to. It's just the way I put stuff together. So I really appreciate you out there for your patience with the things I do. And also thanks for the support. Thank you very much, my Patreon supporters, PayPal supporters. Thank you all so much for supporting the videos and the shows and the website and everything else. I really appreciate you. And, just thanks again for listening, man. I'm not trained to do this. I don't have a script. I don't go into this thinking what I'm going to do or say. So I really do feel like I'm rambling half the time. So I appreciate you guys just bearing with that. And there's Chubbs. Hey, come here. Can you hear him? Come here. Hey. What are you doing? I'm just saying goodbye to everybody. You want to say goodbye? Come here. Hi. Now you're going to be quiet, huh? All right. Well, Chubbs says goodbye in his own way. I'm still putting together some footage of him. So we'll have a nice Doom break sometime with some Chubbs footage. As I said, got some videos coming, guys. Thanks again for your patience. I just feel like I can't upload a video till it's ready. And sometimes I got to wait for other pieces to fall into place. I'm rambling again about my videos. This is what I do. You guys are awesome, man. Thanks. Thanks again to the moderators for being here. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you later, okay? Take care.